the future of our country and church. For Christian training, we get a sure, solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country. Oh, come along and join us. Oh, come along and join us. Happy, studious are we. For Christian training, we get a sure, solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country and church. For Christian training, we get a sure, solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country. Oh, come along and join us. Oh, come along and join us. Happy, studious are we.
Thank you so much, Presec Legon. And indeed, they said, oh, yes, come along and join them. But actually, saw a female sing your school anthem with you throughout. You guys should actually go and look for her. I'm sure she's a great fan of Presec, except that she came as a female. Oh, yes, so we'll take the next anthem from Prempeh College. So, yes, Prempeh, you do us the honor of your school anthem.
Truth and excellence to build in us a masculine pride, a motto imbues in us the love of God. Arise and shine, students of Prempeh College, training love for truth and excellence to build in us a masculine pride, a motto imbues in us the love of God. To serve our nation, clean and strong. To serve our nation, clean and strong. Subaine nim dear, it rings. Character and integrity, 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 character and integrity. Amen. Raise your voices loud, raise your voices loud, and say, Flourish at Prempeh College, and say, Flourish at Prempeh College.
A very big thank you to you, Prempeh College, and indeed, almost says Subai any name there, that is character and integrity. Let's see how that shows very well in today's contest. And so, since Augustines is right next to them, then St. Augustine's will take your school anthem.
Augustinian hotel ni papa. Ready? Sing. Augustinian hotel ni papa no kwanya meso osabeni. Ebimbi katre ko no nenunya asokoko ni chichi ni pa. Augustine yena dan fopa ontuni Monica neba tiena so na chicha dien amaya fata nyamini jen. Augustine Yena dan fupa until ni Monica neba Tiena so na chicha die Amaya fa tanyami.
A very big thank you to you, Saint Augustines. I couldn't really catch so much words, but I actually heard more Augustine. Yeah, down for part. Thank you guys so much. And so, yes, sitting right after them, we have Opoku Ware. So, Opoku Ware, we take your school anthem.
All hail Opoku High School. Ready? Sing. All hail Opoku High School. Alma mater. Born of a great name, forged with the mighty soul. Blessed by the Almighty God, in the radiance shall we see light. For thy honor we shall preserve, for thy defense we shall fight. Your place amongst the great to uphold, let knowledge radiate from hallowed Arcateche. And the halls and hallways rest on it, let the halls and hallways rest on it with a glorious hymn. And the halls and hallways rest on it, let the halls and hallways rest on it with a glorious hymn. Magnificant anima mea Dominum Deus lus
Thank you so much, Opoku Ware. The only word I can actually say is akateche. The rest, I will reserve it. And so, yes, we are not wasting so much time. And so, please, if our quizmaster is ready, with a round of applause, let's please welcome Mr. Godwin Nkunu as our quizmaster for today. So, please, if Mr. Godwin is around, we want you to come and take your seat, sir. All right, so as he's coming, then from what I'm seeing, the students, as and when I call, you come for your seat. So yes, I'm seeing Opoku Ware. So please, can we have the contestants for Opoku Ware actually come to their seats? Prempeh, St. Augustine's College can equally follow them. Presec Legon can follow. And then Prempeh College can also follow. Why did you stop clapping? Let's clap for them until they actually get to the stage. What do you think? All right, so yes, once again, let me remind you that this is the very day that we are having the semi-finals for this year's NIQ, that is 2025. Let's see who actually qualifies from here to the finals that is happening on a Wednesday. This is the NIQ 2025. Thank you so much. So please, yes, we'll wait for our quizmaster as he comes onto the stage. All right, so since our quizmaster is not here yet, we will take the names of our contestants and what they actually think about this contest for today. So yes, Prempeh, I'm starting with you. So let's have your names and your expectation for today.
I am Ronald Nita Ekotegu from Prempeh College, and we expect nothing but victory today.
My name is Sylvester Uswe-Chow.
Okay, so Prempeh College says they expect nothing but victory today. And let's see if they indeed go home with that victory. So yes, Presek, what do you also say?
I'm Labi Eric Edwamwa.
I'm Daniel. The battle is the Lord's.
The battle is indeed the Lord's. And so, Augustines, what do you have to say yourself?
Kofi Lawrence, Lagos Smith. We hope for nothing but the best.
Augustine says they hope for nothing but the best. And so, yes, the last one from Opoku Ware. Having a problem with that microphone, so let's use this one.
Nothing but the best.
Jeffrey Samuel Kweku.
And that was it from Prempeh College in DD that expects nothing but sorry. So yes, that is it from OWAS, and indeed they expect nothing but the best. Let's see who actually goes home victorious today and who actually qualifies for the finals for this year's NIQ. Quizmaster is now in, and Quizmaster, over to you.
this promises to be a final before the final. So there are 2 slots available. The first 2 schools, that is the first school and the first runner-up, qualify into the finals, which will be held on Thursday. And so every single score matters over here, right? This is just an icebreaker. We are going to get into the real thing very soon. Okay, so let me hear from my contestants. Just your name. We are far behind time. Just your name, and we can start.
Ntim Nana Ochumesi.
Okay.
Jemfi Samuel Kweku.
All right, you're welcome, Owas.
Gabriel Smith. Lawrence Kofi.
All right, Augusto, you're welcome.
Labi Eric Edwamwa.
Daniel.
All right.
So it's also a channel.
Ronald Nita Ekutigu.
You're all welcome. Okay, let's clap for them. Okay. So if your school gives any answer, even if it's your school or not, please let's do all to applaud them so that it gives them the morale to give the answers, okay? All right, so we start from round 1. Now, this contest has 5 rounds. Round 1 tests your theory knowledge, your ability to produce answers to specific questions, okay? Round 2, you'll be given case studies, brief case studies. You have to produce answers to the case you are read to. Round 3, you do your simulation. Round 4, you have your presentations you'd have to give us concerning the case you've been given. Round 5A, true or false. Round 5B, riddles. Now for round 1, you have 5 major questions. No, sorry, 6 major questions. Okay, 6. If I give you your major question, you have 15 seconds to produce the correct answer. If it's a bonus question, you have 5 seconds. If you get your main question correct, you get 3 points. If you get your main question wrong, you score no point. And where it is a bonus, I'll declare it to be a bonus, right? Wait for it to be declared as a bonus, you ring, wait to be called, and then you give your answer. Is that clear? All right. If that is okay, then we can begin the contest. Was, you're number 1, right? Let's test the bells. So let's start from you. Okay. Presek. Prempeh. All right. General preamble. Cost push inflation is when supply cost rises or supply levels fall. In both scenarios, prices will rise as long as demand remains the same. Now, this inflation occurs under 5 special circumstances. In all these circumstances, demand is inelastic. Every school here is to state one of such circumstances and explain how it leads to cost push inflation. Opoku Ware.
Okay, so one cause of cost push inflation is the increase in the wages and salaries of workers. Okay, so now the explanation of this. When there is an increase in the wages and salaries of workers, the employers will have to also increase their pays. And with this, it will reduce their cost of production since they'll have to pay more. No, it will increase their cost of production since they'll have to pay more. And then also...
I accept that. Correct for 3 points. Augustines.
1. When the firm is a monopoly. So when the firm is a monopoly, since it is the sole producer of the good, it can shift the cost to the consumer. And because the consumer does not have any choice but to buy the commodity, the producer can shift all the costs associated with the inflation. So therefore, this leads to an increase in the price of the goods and services.
That is correct for 3 points. Presek.
Okay, so the use of government policies. This occurs when the government increase tax and it occurs when the government increase tax. So as a result of the increase in tax, like the company tax, it increases the cost of production of the goods, and this increases the prices of the goods and causes cost push inflation.
I accept that. Correct for 3 points. Prempeh.
Okay. So then we have natural disasters. So in a situation where a natural disaster occurs in the economy or the country, the inputs that are needed to produce goods and services within a country are become limited relative to their demand. So then these goods and services, their prices increase because of their limitedness. Thus making the supply, thus making the cost push inflation to increase. Because
that is correct for 3 points. You see, I've been very nice this morning, right? Let's clap for me. I've done well. I've been very nice. Next set of questions. I'm going to give you 2 different terms, okay? All schools. Whatever term I give you, you have to differentiate between those terms as used in the law of contract. Differentiate between these terms clearly as used in the law of contract. Okay. All right. OAS. Yours is differentiate between a misrepresentation and a fraud.
Okay. So misrepresentation is a false statement made by one party with the intention of made by one party which is false, and then fraud is a false statement which is made to deceive another party, and a fraud can render a contract void, but not every misrepresentation can render a contract void. An example of misrepresentation is an innocent misrepresentation. But for all frauds,
they terminate the contract.
I accept that. So the difference is in the intention to deceive. With misrepresentation, there is no intention to deceive. With fraud, there is an intention. Differentiate clearly. I didn't say define. Okay, differentiate. But you define it. I heard it. That's why I'm giving it to you. Augustines, your terms are unconscionability and public interest. Sorry, unconscionability and public policy. Rather, not interest.
Unconscionability, this is where one contract widely favors another. So here, the unconscionability, the contract favors mostly one party, and it is unfair. But for public policy, the contract is annulled because it breaches the public interest, because it displays illegality, goes against environmental policies and others.
I accept that. Correct for 3 points. Hello. Please adjust my microphone for me, okay? Presec. Your terms are duress and undue influence. Differentiate between duress and undue influence.
Duress, okay. So duress, this is where there is pressure on one party to do something which is actually against his or her will. Whilst undue influence, you are using a position, that's a higher position or status, to induce someone to submit to a terms of a contract. So against their will. So example of duress is where there is threatening of a legal right, something like unreal falsehood. So a police has maybe detained someone, unlawful detention, to pay for maybe a debt owing or something. Whilst undue influence, maybe a pastor uses his position to influence church members to sign a contract or something.
That is correct for 3 points. Prempeh, differentiate between a mutual mistake and a common mistake.
Okay. So then a mutual mistake. This is a mistake which occurs where both parties to the contract are making different mistakes in the contract. Whereas the common mistake is the mistake which occurs when both parties are making a mistake on the same subject within the contract.
Come again with mutual mistake.
So then with mutual mistake, this is where the parties within the contract are thinking differently. That is, they are making these mistakes as to different subject matters within the contract. Whereas the common mistake is a mistake where both parties are making mistakes on the same subject matter in the contract.
You know what? Help yourself. Give me examples of it.
Okay, so in the mutual mistake, common mistake, example like I asked Kofi to go and buy tie, but Kofi thought. So in the common mistake, I asked Kofi to go and. So in the common mistake, I asked Kofi to go and buy tie, but Kofi thought I was talking about tie, the cover car tie. So this is a common mistake. And also in the mutual, whereby the parties are thinking different. That is, if my colleague Ronald and Sai, so we was into contract, and I was thinking about tie, and Una was also thinking about different thing. That is, both parties making different mistakes.
You are more confused than anyone. So your definition is correct. That's correct for 3 points. By your example, you are just confusing yourself. So an example of a mutual mistake is, let's say there's a seller and a buyer, okay? We've agreed on a specific model. Let's say we are going to buy a Corolla, right? So maybe you are thinking of a C, let's say a Benz. You are thinking of a C class. I'm thinking of an S class. So because of the model of the car, that is a mutual mistake. A common mistake is, as you were saying. Okay, so yes, that is correct for 3 points. Next set of questions. General preamble. Now, there are various forms of market structures, and these structures are categorized based on some defining characteristics. Each school is to give me, state and explain one of such defining characteristics of a market structure.
Okay, so I would like, so one characteristics of a market structure is, which defines a market structure, is the nature of competition, which is the level of competition in the market. So in some markets, there are a lot of competition. That is, there are other buyers and other sellers, and in some, there are no competition. That is, there is only one seller, and some too, there are few. So for an example of a market with a lot of competition is the perfect competition market. And also, an example of one with little or no competition is the monopoly market.
I accept that for 3 points. St. Augustines.
So we have barriers to entry. The market structures have different barriers to entry as well as exits. For example, monopoly markets have high barriers to entry, therefore making it impossible to have many firms enter the market. While markets such as perfect competition markets have easy or free entry to the market, therefore making a lot of firms enter and compete with the existing firms.
So our next factor of market structure is the number of buyers in the market. So with this, it deals with the number of buyers. Maybe there are more buyers or less buyers in the market. So an example of a market with less buyers, or an example of a market with less buyers in the market, is something like oligopsony. There's a market structure with less buyers, and also there are some market structures with only one buyer in the market, which is a monopsony. And this factor determines the market structure in a way that it determines the profits the seller gets in the market.
Correct for 3 points.
And we have the type of commodity or goods within the market. So then, in a perfect competition market, there are homogeneous goods in the market, whereas in the monopolistic competition market, they are identical but differentiated goods in the market. And also in the monopoly market, there is only one single good within the market.
That is correct for 3 points. Next set of questions. Investment appraisal techniques, right? So we have various the profitability of an investment. So each school is to give me one of investment appraisal technique. Explain and state the decision rule.
Okay, so the investment technique we would like to talk about is the net present value. So the net present value measures the current worth of future assets. So the net present value is the only among all the investment appraisals which satisfies the optimal decision rule. And then its decision rule is that if accept the project if the net present value is greater than 0, and reject the project if the net present value is less than 0.
Yes, I'll accept that. That is correct for 3 points. That is correct for 3 points. Augustine.
So we have the internal rate of return, which is the IRR. This is the rate of return on an investment expressed as a percentage. This rate is the rate that makes NPV equal to 0. So the investment decision rule is that if IRR is greater than the cost of capital, accept the project because it is profitable. Whilst if IRR is less than the cost of capital, do not accept the project because it is not profitable.
That is correct for 3 points. Next set of, all right, yeah, sorry, Presec.
Okay, so we are looking at the payback period. This is the number of years required to gain or acquire the initial the initial money put in an investment or a project. So here, the decision rule is that because it ignores the time value of money and then the risks associated with the returns, you will often compare it to the net present value before you make decisions.
So you have the profitability index. So then the profitability index refers to the present value of cash inflows divided by the initial investment. So then if the profitability index is greater than 1, you accept the project. If the profitability index is less than 1, you do not accept the project.
Now, the marketing environment of businesses or financial institutions is influenced by various macroeconomic or macro-environmental factors, and it is classified as PESEL, okay, the PESEL framework. So each school clearly define one of such factors.
Okay, so we want to talk about the political. So the political refers to the political atmosphere in the country. So this impacts financial service in this way. If the atmosphere is stable, it will it will promote marketing services. But if it is unstable, it won't promote marketing services. A specific example is,
Say there's a war in the country. This might disrupt the political structure of the country and thereby resulting in inefficient operations of the company.
Yeah. So your definition, okay, the definition, you didn't do justice. You said political factor is the political environment. You didn't say anything, okay? So yes, your example is correct. So 2 out of 3. Because you told us how it affects the market and you told us the example, so 2. Okay, but your explanation, I'm not accepting that. Yes, Augustines.
So you have the social factor. These factors determine the goods and services, the services produced by the firm. For example, the society or the norms or values of the society influences the type of services the firm produces. So for example, let's say a firm resides in a religious area. They will be prohibited from producing secular music, which is a service some people enjoy. And this would limit the amount of services or the variety of services the firm can produce, since the services they produce should conform to the societal norms and values.
I accept that. Correct for 3 points. Presec.
So the next factor of macroeconomics is the technological aspect. This deals with the introduction of new and modern equipment and tools in the financial sector. This helps in the financial sector in the sense that it helps make financial services very easy to conduct, and also the introduction of apps like the fintech apps and new technological tools like the robot advisors help enhance financial services in the country.
I accept that. Correct for 3 points.
So we have the legal factor. That is the law of the land or the legal framework within the country which affects the market policy or the marketing decisions which are made by the firm. So an example is when a firm makes an advertisement for its financial service, the firm would have to ensure that the advertisement is following the rules of the land and that there are no laws that are affecting the advertisement, so as to avoid any form of fines or reputational risks associated.
That is correct for 3 points. Last set of questions for this round. Last set of questions. All right. So we have corporate governance principles. Okay. So the companies has gave us some corporate governance principles, and we also have some from the G20, that is the group of 20, or the OECD principles of corporate governance. So it outlines 4 key principles. Each group could give me the principle and then what the principle is to achieve. Do you understand? It says 4 keys. Don't give me anything that is not part of the 4. And tell me what that principle is to achieve in corporate governance. What?
okay, so one principle is board diversity and principle. What it seeks to achieve is to include others from all places of the world, all places of life, like gender,
So we have the disclosure of timely and accurate information. Here, the OECD principles state that the stakeholders as well as shareholders should have access to timely, complete, objective, as well as cost-efficient means to accessing those information.
Yes, access to timely information. That is correct for 3 points.
framework, or ensuring the basis for an effective governance framework. So, what corporate governance does here
ensures that the shareholders, board of directors, and also the managers or the senior executives of the company are staying in line or are working together so as to be able to improve the prospects of the firm, and also ensuring that the board of directors are able to ensure that employees or other staff within the organization are able to obey all rules and regulations and are able to comply with all rules and regulations within the company.
What did you say? What was the
Ensuring the basis for an effective governance framework.
That is not correct. The reason why I wanted you to repeat it is so that your school will know what you said, and then your explanation you gave, okay? So that when they come to pretext, they'll come with that particular thing you said. All right, so that is the end of round 1, okay? Let's clap for all the schools. They've done very well. We go into round 2. Round 2 is you'll be given cases, okay, very brief cases, where you are to listen to the case and answer the questions that follow the case, okay? So I hear some schools want to effect a substitution, so let's have OWAS. OWAS wants to effect a substitution. Thank you very much for joining us. Your name? Chumesi. See you, hopefully, see you soon. Let's clap for them as oh, you're welcome. Can I know your name?
My name is Joe in Chesamo.
Okay, Joe, you are welcome. I'm praying you bring your school a lot of luck. At the end of round 1, the following are the scores. Opoku Ware, 14. St. Augustines, 18. Presec Ligon, 14. Prempeh College, 15. This is just the beginning. You see, this round, all the answers were simple. You were happy. Keep smiling till the end, okay? All right. Now, this round, you'll be given very brief cases, okay? Listen to the case and produce an answer to the case. You still have 15 seconds to give me the correct answer. A bonus. Where it is declared a bonus, you have 5 seconds, all right? Okay. OWAS. Ghana's inflation rate has risen sharply over the past 2 months, and the Bank of Ghana is concerned about rising consumer prices. In response, the bank sells large volumes of government securities to commercial banks. As a result, liquidity in the banking system falls and interest rate rises. Businesses begin to find it harder to access credit due to the reduced money supply. So the question here, I keep doing this. So every time, okay, I'm going to start with the question so that you have the question in mind before I read the case. Else it will be difficult to catch it. So the question is, identify the monetary or the policy tool used. Identify the policy, whether it is a fiscal policy or monetary policy, the specific policy. Okay, don't tell me fiscal or monetary. It is not a tool. That is the policy. I said two because I want to be fair. And then you tell me the type of policy tool, whether it is a contractionary policy tool or an expansionary policy tool. Okay, I've helped you. All right, so the case again. Ghana's inflation rate has risen sharply over the past 2 months, and the Bank of Ghana is concerned about rising consumer prices. In response, the bank sells large volumes of government securities to commercial banks. As a result, liquidity in the banking system falls and interest rate rises. Businesses begin to find it harder to access credit due to reduced money supply. The policy 2, the policy type. OAS.
Okay, so the policy tool used is the open market operations, and then the type is a tight monetary.
It's a contractory monetary policy.
Hey. What are you saying?
It's a contractual monetary policy or contraction.
You see, it is a contractionary. So that is correct for 3 points. I mean, I know what he's saying, so that is correct for 3 points. So we have contractionary and we have expansionary. Nobody should come and say X, and be doing like this. Okay? All right. Augustines. The government announces a major infrastructure program aimed at building new highways and improving rural roads nationwide. Parliament approves a significant increase in public spending to finance these construction projects. The goal is to create jobs and boost aggregate demand in the economy. Private contractors begin hiring new workers as funds are released. The policy tool here and the policy type here.
Can you repeat the question?
I can't repeat the question, please.
The tool here is the use of government spending to increase or improve economic growth, and the type of policy is expansionary fiscal policy.
That is correct for 3 points. Presec, to address a growing fiscal deficit, the government raises VAT and import duties on selected consumer goods. The higher taxes increase the price of these items, reducing household disposable income. As a result, spending declines, and then inflation pressures ease slightly. Businesses begin to adjust their prices and inventory strategies. What policy tool was used here and the policy type? That is correct for 3 points. Prempeh. Due to persistent pressures on the cedi, the central bank begins buying cedis in the foreign exchange market while selling portions of its foreign currency reserves. This move reduces the supply of cedis in circulation and stabilizes the exchange rate. Importers experience reduced volatility in their transaction cost. The government announces this as part of their strategy to maintain the cedi's stability. What policy tool was used here and the policy type?
Okay, so then the two is the open market operations, and the type is the contractional monetary policy.
All right, so it is their main question, okay? The two is not open market operations. It is market intervention or forex exchange intervention policy, something like that. And then the policy is true. It is a contractionary monetary policy. So 2 out of 3. Next set of questions. Now, this is under law. Your question is to identify the type of mistake and the legal effect, whether the contract is void or voidable. All right. OAS. Amma sells a parcel of land to Kojo, believing it is 2 acres because that is what her late father told her. Kojo also inspects the land and believes it is 2 acres based on the information Amma provides. Months later, a survey reveals that the land is actually 1 acre, although both parties genuinely believed it was 2 acres. Kojo now wants to avoid the contract and recover part of the purchase price, the type of mistake, and then the legal effect.
Okay, so the type of mistake is a common mistake, and the legal effect is that the contract is void.
Okay, so the type of mistake is a common mistake. The effect is the contract is voidable. 2 out of 3. Augustines. Smith visits an auction and sees a painting he believes is an original 19th century piece based on its color tone. The auctioneer notices Smith's assumption but says nothing, even though he knows it's a modern replica. Smith buys the painting at a very high price, only to later discover the truth. He seeks to rescind the contract on the grounds of mistake. The type of mistake, the legal effect. Augustines.
The mistake is unilateral mistake, and the contract is voidable.
The mistake is unilateral mistake. The contract is void. 2 out of 3. Presec. A company contracts with a supplier of grade A cocoa bags, believing they are referring to a newer, larger model recently introduced in the market. The supplier, however, thinks grade A refers to the older standard model and prices the order accordingly. Neither party clarifies the meaning of grade A, and the misunderstanding only surfaces upon delivery. The buyer refuses the shipment, claiming this was never the agreement. The type of mistake, the legal effect. It is a mutual or cross-purpose mistake. The contract is void. 2 out of 3. Prempeh. Two business partners agree to buy a delivery truck they both believe is parked at a storage facility and ready for collection. They later learned that the truck had been destroyed in a fire and the previous week, unknown to both sides at the time of contracting. The seller insists on being paid because the contract had already been signed. The buyer refuses, arguing that the basis of the contract was non-existent. The type of mistake, the legal effect.
So it is a unilateral mistake and it is voidable.
It is a common mistake and it is void. 0. Next set of questions. So the question here, okay, for all schools, the question is, you have to tell me the legal classification, okay, under offer and acceptance. Are you all listening? The legal classification under offer and acceptance. And then tell me the legal effect, whether a contract existed or not. Okay, whether a contract existed or not. That is what you have to tell me. And you have to tell me the legal classification under offer and acceptance. All right. OAS. Kofi visits a shop and sees a laptop displayed with a price tag 4,000 cedis. He asks the shopkeeper, can you reduce it to 3,500? The shopkeeper replies that he will check with the manager and get back to him. Kofi later claims that the display plus his question creates a binding contract on the shop owner. The legal classification and the effect.
Okay, so there was an offer with no acceptance, and then no contract existed.
Okay, so there was no offer. All right. Okay, and I'll tell you later. Maybe when I give the answer, it will help the other schools. Okay, but yes, no contract existed. So 2 out of 3. Augustines. A company posts a newsletter advertisement stating, we intend to launch a new promotional package next month. Details will be announced soon. A customer sees the advertisements and assumes the company has made an offer to supply specific services. He later claimed he accepted the offer by calling their office. The legal classification of this scenario and the effect.
There was an offer, but there's no legal class. There's an offer, and also there is the contract exists since it is a unilateral offer which is made to the whole world, and therefore the guy accepted it.
That is not correct. No bonus in this round. Presec. Selena writes to Kojo stating, I am willing to sell my stewing machine for 800 cedis. Would you be willing to buy it at this price? Kojo quickly responds, yes, I accept your offer, and insists that the contracts have been formed. Selena argues that she was only testing Kojo's interest in the contract. The legal classification and the effect. That is not correct. Prempeh. Yao writes to a supplier stating, I offer to purchase 200 bags of cement at 70 cedis per bag. Offer is valid for 14 days. The supplier delivers the cement after 22 days without responding in writing. Claiming that the delivery itself was accepted, Yao refuses to pay, arguing that acceptance was too late. The legal classification, the effect.
There was an offer, but then the time elapsed, so then the contract was terminated. So there was no contract.
Okay. That is correct for 3 points. Presec. Selena said, I am willing to sell at this price. That is not an offer. It is an invitation to treat. The acceptance of which becomes an offer, which the other party would have to accept that offer, then it becomes a contract, all right? Augustines, the advertisement was an invitation, okay? It was a mere advertisement. It cannot be an offer, all right? And then yours too was a mere request for information. So it was not an offer. It was a mere request for an information, not an offer. Okay. All right. Next set of questions. Let's clap for all the schools. Now, the question here is, you have to identify the type or the risk management method used in the scenario. Just identify it. Okay. All right. OAS. A commercial bank reviews its loan book and notices that one corporate borrower already owes 45 million Ghana cedis. Although the firm has requested an additional 20 million, the bank refuses and explains that it has reached its maximum exposure limit for this client. The credit committee insists no single borrower should exceed 10% of the bank's capital. The client is advised to seek financial help from another institution. What risk management method is this?
Okay, so the risk management method is limiting exposure.
That is correct for 3 points. Augustines. Two financial institutions enter into a long-term interest rate contract that fluctuates in value depending on market conditions. At the end of each trading day, the contract is repriced, and the party whose position has gained value receives a payment from the counterparty whose position has lost value. Both sides update their book to reflect the new market value of the contract. This daily valuation helps prevent excess buildup of credit exposure. The risk management method used here.
Credit default swap.
You have one other chance.
Credit
payment netting.
That is not correct.
Yeah.
I'll answer later. Presec. Two firms engage in multiple forward and swap transactions with each other. Instead of exchanging gross payments separately for each contract, they calculate the net amount owed after offsetting obligations on both sides. Only the party with the larger liability makes a single payment covering all exposure. This significantly reduces the risk of settlement. The risk management method used in this scenario is... That is correct for 3 points. Prempeh. A company enters into several derivative contracts with a counterparty that later files for bankruptcy. Under the terms of their arrangements, all outstanding contracts must be terminated immediately, and their values are aggregated to determine one final payment. This prevents the solvent party from having to pay gross amounts while possibly receiving nothing in return. The bankruptcy court upholds the agreement as valid. What method was used here?
Close out next.
That is correct for 3 points. All right, next set of questions. Please listen and think and give me the answer. Okay, I said think. Okay, all right. So you have to give me the technique that was used here, the investment appraisal technique, and whether or not they should accept the project. That is why I began with you defining it. So give me the method which was used and whether or not they should accept it. Okay, all right. OAS, using the same cash flow, all right, we'll come back to that, okay? Now I'm going to give you, delete that particular preamble, new preamble. So I'm going to give you a case, all right? You have to tell me what cause of demand pool inflation was illustrated. We have several causes of demand pool inflation. You have to tell me which cause of demand pool inflation was illustrated here, all right? Okay. Kwame runs a chain of electronic stores in Accra. Now, during Ghana's economic boom in 2023, consumers felt confident about their jobs and salaries. They rushed to buy TVs, laptops, and smartphones. Despite Kwame's increase in stock, he could not keep up, and prices for popular items rose sharply. So which kind of demand push inflation is illustrated here?
Spend. Okay, so it was excessive spending or spending of the consumers.
That is not correct. Next, Augustines. A retail shop owner in Kumasi, notices news reports that rice prices are expected to rise due to international supply shortages. Customers began to buy rice in bulk, emptying Ama's shelves within days and causing her to increase prices. What specific factor of demand pull inflation does this represent?
The consumers expected prices to increase in the future and hence bought goods in excess currently. Expected increases in the price of goods and services in the future and hence caused consumers to buy excessively now.
So the two here is expected increase in prices, correct? So expectation of inflation, right? Increase in prices, inflation, right? Correct for 3 points. Okay. Presec, in 2022, The government of Ghana printed additional money to cover pandemic-related debts. Citizens suddenly had more cash in their wallets, but stores could not increase stock of imported goods fast enough. Prices of electronics, clothing, and food began to rise across the country. What cause of demand pull inflation is illustrated here. That is correct for 3 points. Prempeh, tallow oil performed with Ghanaian government. Okay, sorry. They partnered with the Ghanaian government to build oil infrastructures, increased demand for steel, cement, and heavy machinery, pushed up prices because local suppliers could not immediately meet the demand spike. Which factor of demand pull inflation is responsible?
Introduction of advanced technology.
That is not correct. Why are you clapping for them? You have one other chance. Okay, you've been bailed out. Did I say anything about technology? Okay, let me read it again. Maybe you heard technology. So, tallow oil partnered with the Ghanaian government to build oil infrastructures, increase demand for steel, cement, heavy machinery. So, where's the technology in there? Okay, so it is government spending or discretionary fiscal policy that caused this. Okay, all right. Last set of questions for this round. OAS. General question to all of you, okay? Okay, so you've heard of drag on liquidity, right? So I'm going to read a case to you. You are going to tell me whether it is a drag or a pull on liquidity. And you tell, so if it is a drag on liquidity, tell me the specific drag. If it is a pull, you tell me the specific pull. So the answer is 2. It is a drag and this kind of drag. It is a pull, this kind of pull. Are we okay? All right. OAS. A furniture manufacturing company has 500,000 Ghana cedis worth of goods sitting in its warehouse. Most of these items have not been sold in over 18 months because customers' preference shifted to a newer design. Management notices that although sales are slow, storage and maintenance costs continue to rise. They are concerned that the unsold stock is tying up cash that could have been used to meet short-term obligations. Is this a pull or a drag, and what kind?
Okay, so this is a drag on, and then the kind is that it lacks receipts.
Is that a final answer?
It is a drag caused by inventory.
Okay.
It's a drag caused by inventory.
It is a drag on liquidity and it is caused by obsolete inventory. Correct for 3 points. What did you say? Augustines. A medium-sized electronic distributor has several customers who routinely delay payment far beyond the agreed 30-day credit period. Although the sales volume looks impressive on paper, very little cash is actually coming in during the month. As a result, the company borrows to meet payroll, increasing its financing cost. Management is worried that cash inflow delay is strengthening their short-term liquidity. A drag or a pull, and which specific kind? Augustines.
A drag on liquidity, and this is caused by delayed credit payments.
Is that a final answer? A drag on liquidity, and it is caused by uncollected receivables or delayed credit periods, which will translate into uncollected receivables. I accept that for 3 points. Presec. A supplier offers a 3% discount if a company pays invoice within 5 days instead of their usual 30 days. The finance officer decides to take advantage of the discount and begins paying almost immediately after receiving invoices. However, this rapid disbursement creates a cash shortage because inflows from customers' collections arrive much later. The company struggles to maintain adequate working capital during the month. A drag or a pool? What specific kind? That is correct for 3 points. Prempeh. A startup attempts to expand rapidly but finds that suppliers are unwilling to extend normal credit period. Instead of receiving 30 days to pay, the company must now pay up cash upfront for most purchases. This forces the business to use its own funds before generating revenue from the sold goods. The accelerated cash outflow strains liquidity and disrupts operations. A drag or a pool? What specific kind?
Pool on liquidity, and the two is to the reduction in discount received or credit by suppliers.
Come again with the final part. So it's a pull on liquidity and then
reduction in credit by suppliers.
Okay, I can take that. So limited trade credit, okay, reduction in credit, limited trade credit. So that is correct for 3 points. Okay, so this brings us to the end of round 2. Let's clap for all the schools. Okay, so as we await our scores and prepare for our presentations, this is the National Investment Quiz Competition 2025. This is the first semi-final contest organized here in the Amegashi Hall on the University of Ghana Business School block. Okay, now the first 2 schools qualify for the finals, okay, and the other 2 schools would have to join us, God willing, next year. Okay, so as it's so the National Investment Quiz Competition is brought to you by the Young Investor Network in partnership with the Ghana Stock Exchange, the Central Securities Depository, APSA Bank, and in partnership with the MTN High School, Clock TV, and others. Okay, let me hear from my contestants. How has the contest been so far? Prempeh, let me hear from you.
So far, it's going on. It's going on. It's okay. It's okay for now. It's okay.
Let's clap for Prempeh. Presec. St. Augustine's.
Round 2 didn't go as expected, but we hope with the grace of God we will remain victorious at the end.
Okay. Opoku Ware.
Okay, so far so good.
So far, so good. So we go into the simulation round, one of my favorite rounds because I get to sit and watch people sweat. Okay, now this round, you'll be given a dummy amount of money, okay? And you have to trade live on the stock exchange and make profit. If you make profit, the first school with the highest profit gets 10, the next school gets 8, the next school gets 6, and the next school gets 4. That is if you are all positive. But if you get negative, that is, if we give you money and you don't make any returns, we give you 1 for trying your best, okay? At the end of round 2, these are the scores for round 2. Opoku Ware, 13. Augustines, 11. Presec, 14. Prempeh, 11. These are the cumulative scores at the end of round 2. Opoku Ware, 27. 2-7. St. Augustine's, 29. Presec, 28. Prempeh, 26. So we have 26, 27, 28, 29. So trade carefully, okay? Don't take too much risk because a lot is on the line here. Are we ready? Okay, I hear some schools want to effect a substitution. Opoku Ware and St. Augustine's. It's not substitution, they are joining you on stage. Okay, so if you are part of the team, please join us on stage as we trade. The Accra schools don't like clapping. They should bring Adontin for me. I don't like Legon precise clapping at all. Don't clap, -4. Let's clap for them as they come up on stage.
Two.
Jordan.
All right, so contestants, we are on the stock simulation round. And this is what you are going to do. We are going to reset the system for you guys. So after resetting the system, you are supposed to create a new account with your school name as a username. Right, so you can start creating the account.
clapping for all the schools. Okay, thank you very much, participating school. You've all done very well. Hey. Okay, so as you can see from the live board, all schools traded with the same amount of money. And from what we can see, some made gains and some want to. All right, so from what we have on the board, Presec Legon traded and had plus 1.2 growth. So they come up first, giving them 10 points. Opoku Ware traded, they had 1.1% growth. So they come up second, getting 8 points. St. Augustine's, they did their best not to go below the zero. So they were still within zeros, but still they had a growth of 0.03. So they get 6. And Prempeh did very well. Actually, their negative was higher, but they were able to reduce the negative a bit. Let's clap for them. They get 1 point. And that brings us to the end of round 3. Thank you very much for joining us on stage. Those who are not part of... Okay. Yeah, so thank you for joining us. We move to the next stage of the competition. Let's clap for them as they leave on stage. Opoku Ware, where is the other contestant? All right, so we head into the presentations round. Our scores for this round ready. If the cumulative scores, if not, we can start with the presentation. Okay, so at the end of round 8, the scores for round 3 are as follows. Opoku Ware 8, St. Augustine 6, Presec 10, and Prempeh 1. So the cumulative scores, Opoku Ware 35, Augustines 35, Presec 38, Prempeh 27. Okay, so we move into the presentation stage. I'll address the protest after the presentation. There's one protest here, but I'll address it after the presentation stage. Okay. All right, so you were given a case study. You analyzed the case. You had your PowerPoints prepared. So you have 10 minutes to give us your presentation on the questions or the issues, the presentation, the case presented to you, okay? So if the slides are ready, we can start with so we are at the midpoint. Okay, we are actually at the midpoint of the competition. So this is the first half. The next half also have much more max as compared to what has gone on. So if you are trailing, have faith in the Lord, okay? And if you are leading, be careful, all right? Anything can happen. Don't be overconfident and don't undervalue yourself. We are still at par. There's yet a lot more to go on in this contest. We are still awaiting our presentation. Okay, so we have our presentations ready. Opoku Ware, I think you would have to begin for us. Let's clap for them as they join me on stage. Prempeh. Yes, raise your head, okay. All right, you have 10 minutes, you can begin.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in the person of Intim Nana Ochumesi from Akatache Investments Limited. Now, meet my co-financial analyst, Akusa Justice. Now, before I begin, I would like to start with a scenario. Imagine there's a drought. Then you visit the market with your mom. Then she buys a high-quality umbrella at an incredibly low price. Now, there's a drought. What are you going to use the umbrella for? Why do you think she did that? Well, it's simply because the drought is temporary. And then in the long run, the rainy season will eventually come. This is a similar case with our client, Amma, a young professional who is a member of the Young Investor Network. Now, recently, Amma learned about value investing at the Investival 2025. Now, when you say value investing, it simply focuses on buying fundamentally strong companies whose stock trade below their intrinsic value due to short-term market inefficiency. Now, Amma came to us wanting to invest 40,000 Ghana cedis, which she has managed to save due to a high financial discipline, into an investment strategy with the value investing approach. So we, being financial analysts, we first taught Amma how to identify undervalued stocks. And with this, we've told her to consider price-to-earnings ratio. Now, price-to-earnings ratio simply means how much investors pay per an amount of earnings. A significantly lower price-to-earnings ratio may indicate undervaluation if the company is profitable and stable. We also told her to consider the company's financial health. Now, a company which has consistently growing revenue and profits, and also positive cash flow, shows that, yes, it has undervalued stocks. We also took qualitative factors into analysis. Now, qualitative factors simply compares about how well it does with its competence management and competitive advantage or a strong brand name. Now, moving on, we made allocation for almost 40,000 Ghana cedis, and we diversified it across the asset class, the category in which it belongs to, the benefit it provides, and the percentage of portfolios you should invest. So first is the blue chip undervalued stocks. Now, blue chip undervalued stocks are simply company stocks whose value are below what they actually seem to be. And the categories of companies which fall under the blue chip undervalued stocks are companies with strong fundamentals, but temporarily depressed prices, and they provide stability. So we told Amma to invest 40% of 40,000 Ghana cedis into the blue chip undervalued stocks, which is 16,000 Ghana cedis. Next is the mid-cap value stocks. Now, the mid-cap value stocks are simply company stocks whose market capitalization is medium. Now, companies which fall under this category are growing companies with strong potential but lower visibility. Now, as at 1990, Coca-Cola was a clear example of mid-value stocks. Now, look at Coca-Cola now. It's a large multinational company. And companies which fall under this, which offer high long-term upside. So it means in the long run, they produce a lot of profits. And you told Amma to invest 30% of her portfolio, which is 12,000 Ghana cedis, into mid-cap value stocks. Next is dividend-paying stocks. Now, in securities and equities, there are two types. You have the capital gains and then the dividend-paying stocks. Capital gains simply means buying your shares and selling them at a higher price in the future. Now, with dividend-paying stocks, it is where the company pays its shareholders part of the profit it makes. Then, the categories of companies which fall under dividend-paying stocks are stable companies. Now, they provide steady income and also reduce dependence on price appreciation. So we told Amma to invest 20% of her 40,000 Ghana cedis, which is 8,000 Ghana cedis, into dividend-paying stocks. Then we move on to the money market fund. The money market fund is simply a market fund which provides short-term debt securities. Now, this provides liquidity for Ama's portfolio and reduces the overall portfolio risk. So we advise her to invest 10% of 40,000 Ghana cedis, which is 4,000 Ghana cedis, into the money market fund. Now, Amma asks us how long should she hold the stocks. So we recommended a holding period for her. Now, with value investing, know that patience is essential. So we advise Amma to hold the stock for 3 to 7 years, and she should only sell if the stock reaches its intrinsic value, the company's fundamentals change significantly, or the market conditions shift dramatically. We then went on to identify some potential risks Amma faces. One is the market risk. Now, market risk simply results in fluctuations in inflation, exchange rate, and a whole lot. Economic downturns can depress prices further before they recover. Next is the value trap risk. The value trap risk is simply a risk which may pose a threat to companies or investors that a stock may appear undervalued, but it's actually undervalued for a reason, and may lure investors into pooling their money to invest into such companies. Now, a stock may appear undervalued, but it's declining due to fundamentals, long-term problems. Next is the liquidity risk. Now, liquidity risk is the risk of a company being able to convert its assets into cash without a fall in its value. Next is the company-specific risk. Now, this is a unique kind of risk which affects every company differently due to their own certain operational structures. Then is the concentration risk. This is the risk of concentrating or focusing all your assets into one investment product. And next, the currency risk. These are simply fluctuations or appreciations and depreciations in a country's currency. Now, we didn't just say all this and let Amma go. No, we prepared a sample diversified portfolio for Amma. Then here again, you see the asset class, the rationale behind it, the allocations, and the percentage of portfolio she should invest. So we suggested MTN Ghana. This is because it's a telecommunication leader in Ghana. It has a large cap, good brand, and also positive cash flow. So we told Amma to invest 12,000 Ghana cedis of a 40,000, which is 30%, into MTN Ghana. Next is the GCB Bank. This is because it's a relatively stable bank. It has attractive financials. So we advise Amma to invest 8,000 Ghana cedis of 40,000 Ghana cedis, which is 20%, into the Ghana Commercial Bank. Then next, the Total Energies Market in Ghana. This is an energy consumer for and plays on demand for petrol. Now, you see inflation rate. The main thing driving inflation rate is the prices of fuel, which appreciates. And so we advise Amma to invest 4,000 Ghana cedis into the Total Energies Market in Ghana, which is 10% of her portfolio. Then we also talk about EcoBank Ghana public company. Now, it's a Pan-African bank exposure, which means it's on the African-based market. It doesn't really operate in Ghana here. So it brings about diversification in financials. So we advise Amma to invest 6,000 Ghana cedis into the EcoBank public company. Next is the Anglo Gold Ashanti company. Now, I mentioned earlier that Amma faces a currency risk. And to simply hedge currency risk, you need to invest into products which simply appreciate when the prices of your country's currency is depreciating. So we advise Amma to invest 4,000 Ghana cedis into the Anglo Gold Ashanti. And then we realized cocoa processing company has the potential to grow in the long run. It's an example of a mid-value company. So we told Amma to invest 5% of the 40,000 Ghana cedis, which is 2,000 Ghana cedis, into the cocoa processing company. And last but certainly not the least, the money market fund. We did this to provide short-term securities and liquidity for Amma. So we advised her to invest 10% of her portfolio, which is 4,000 Ghana cedis, into the money market fund. Now, we devised a final strategy or conclusion of everything, and it's simply 1, for Amma to conduct fundamental analysis. 2, select 4 to 7 undervalued stocks with strong financials and catalysts for growth. 3, invest for long term, approximately 3 to 7 years, to allow value to be realized. 4, rebalance annually based on performance and changing fundamentals. And last, keep 10% in defensive assets, like the money market fund. Now, I would like to end this off with a quote from Benjamin Graham, a renowned investor and financial analyst. The intelligent investor is a realist who sells to optimists and buys from pessimists. On this note, I'd like to thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you very much for that very insightful presentation. If our next presentation is ready, we can take that as well. Okay, so I'll invite St. Augustine's College to join me on stage. Let's clap for them. All right, you can start.
Distinguished judges, fellow contestants, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed with great pleasure to stand before you all to share with you all a short session, with regards to our presentation entitled Guiding AMA Through Value Investment Strategy. Okay, today's session is more like a story about our client AMA, a young lady who currently has 40,000 Ghana cedis with her as her savings. AMA, a member of the Young Investors Network team, attended the program, and on this program, she partook in a particular a class or a session where she was educated about what value investment is. I don't know what exactly AMA was told about what value investment is, but for some reason, after this session, she developed this great desire to quickly engage in value investment. She approached us, financial analysts and advisors, asking us to advise her practically about what value investment is, since she was only taught the theoretical aspect about value investment. AMA asked a few questions, and these questions are the ones we would use to categorize our presentation today. First question she asked was how she would be able to identify undervalued stocks on the Ghana Stock Exchange market, and also how she would allocate her funds in order to minimize her risk, and also maximize their returns in the long run. Also, the period of time she has to engage in whilst undergoing value investment, and last of them, the key risks to be aware of and how she would minimize the losses she would gain from this risk. In continuation, we analyzed our session with AMA and brought out these various problems which we identified, knowing very well that she's liable to face these very problems while engaging in value investment. First problem is the difficulty in identifying the value shares in the Ghana stock market. Second is the inability for her personally to use her 40,000 Ghana cedis to engage in a balanced portfolio, which will reduce the risk as well as increase her return. Third, the period of time that she has to use to engage in value investing. Since value investment deals with a long period of time, it's quite risky. Therefore, she needs guidance for that one. And the last of them is the effect in the portfolio value or portfolio performance as time goes on. In continuation with a much more simplified or demystified information about how AMA is to strategically engage in value investment, I'll leave the floor for my colleague to take over.
So, Amma, being so intrigued about value investing, approached me and asked me to explain to her how value investing is and how she can make a lot of money from value investing. Now, first of all, value investing is basically the type of investing in which investors buy undervalued stocks in order to capitalize from their prices that are from when they are trading below their intrinsic value. Now, some of the ways in which you can use to determine whether they are undervalued is if the stock has a PE ratio that's lower than the sector average. If it has a dividend yield that's higher than the sector average, that's the dividend yield of the sector. And if the price to book value ratio is less than 1. Now, out of the 38 stocks in the Ghana Stock Exchange, we decided to profile about four stocks for her in order to explain into details how she can be able to determine whether a stock is undervalued or overvalued. Now, from what you can see here, Ghana Commercial Bank has a price to earning ratio of 3. Now, this is less than its sector average price to earning ratio of 4.75, and the dividend yield is 5.8. This is higher than the sector average. Now, this should tell you that GCB is an undervalued stock. Now, when you look at MTN has a PE ratio that's higher than its sector average PE ratio, and the dividend yield is lower than its sector average dividend yield. Now, this should tell you that this stock is overvalued. So, we gave AMA an investment options in which she can choose from. So, the first option was a concentrated value portfolio where she just has to invest in 2 of the undervalued stocks, or she can diversify it in order to mitigate many risks. So we recommended the diversified portfolio. Now with this one, we decided to allocate her money in a percentage that will help her diversify the risk. So as you can see here, Ghana Commercial Bank has 40% of the 40,000. That's an amount of 16,000 cedis. And then Clydestone with 25%, ETI with 20%. Now, the money market fund just serves as a cash sleeve. Now, this is to help her meet her short-term expenses. That's because it's a short-term investment, and so it's able to provide her with liquidity in real time. So I'll leave the floor for my colleague.
So after hearing all this, I hope you are very interested about value investing. So how can you implement value investing? So all you need to do is to have a holding period of 3 to 5. I'm going to give you 5 easy steps to achieve this. So first, you research and you screen stocks by using various platforms such as Ghana Stock Exchange dashboard, as well as annual reports. Then you value your stocks, you measure the intrinsic value and convert it to the price of the share to know the stocks to buy. Then you use strategies. You buy from licensed brokers such as Databank, IC Securities, as well as car brokers. You monitor your portfolio quarterly using earnings, dividends, and macro trends. Then you rebalance your portfolio. For example, you can reallocate your assets when your stocks exceed 40% or buy additional units when the market dips. So there are lots of risks associated with this, but don't worry, I'm going to give you ways to mitigate this. So first, you have market risks. This is the potential of experiencing losses due to market dips. So how do you mitigate this? You can diversify your portfolio, spreading your funds across multiple assets. Then hold it for a long period of time. Don't panic. Be patient and enjoy the value of your product. Then you have company risks. These are specific risks that are associated with businesses. So what you can do is just monitor it quarterly using the balance sheets, financial statements such as net income statements and those cash flow statements, all those things. Liquidity risk, this is the risk that you'll not be able to sell your assets fast enough to meet short-term expenses. So how can you mitigate this? You can allocate some funds to short-term securities like treasury bills, money market funds, which will provide you liquidity in the short run. Then we have economic risk, the risk of losing returns due to certain economic policies pursued by the government. So how do you avoid this or mitigate this? You can invest in dividend-paying stocks or firms with cash flow who are rich in cash flow. So in conclusion, Amma has finally learned how to invest or value invest. So she learned this by using 4 simple methods. First, she identified undervalued stocks. Then she diversified her portfolio by investing in stocks as well as fixed income. And then she went in for dividend-paying stocks, then kept the stocks for about 3 to 5 years so as to enjoy the intrinsic value of the stock. So I'll leave it to word of advice. Value investing rewards patience, discipline, and research. This strategy empowers Amma to build sustainable long-term wealth. Amma has started value investing. What are you doing now? Thank you.
Thank you very much, St. Augustine's College. Okay, Presec, the floor is yours.
Perception versus reality, value investing. Good morning, everyone. Today, I'd like to start today's presentation with a scenario. Imagine you move to an electronics shop at a mall, and you look through the window and you see an iPhone 17 Pro Max. Looking at the current market conditions and the exchange rate, it's worth approximately 24,000 Ghana cedis. So you look closer at the price tag. It's not 24,000 Ghana cedis. It has a red line through it. It's just for 8,000 Ghana cedis. What do? You quickly move to the counter. You look at the cover. It's sealed. You look at the warranty. It's valid. What do? You immediately buy it. Why? because you know the worth of the iPhone 17 Pro Max and the price you are paying for it. And you know that the difference is the instant profit that you make. That's logic, that idea is exactly what value investing is about. Today, meet our client. She's by the name Amma. She is a young professional, a member of the Young Investors Network. She is disciplined. She has saved 40,000 Ghana cedis, and she knows that putting that money in a savings account would just mean losing to inflation, so she decided to invest it. She attended the Investival program and got to know that there are some Ghanaian companies that have strong fundamentals, but their stocks have been undervalued due to some current market conditions and pressure. So she came to us, how do I identify those deals? And we gave her the golden rule. That is, price is what you pay and value is what you get. Looking at the iceberg scenario, the iceberg, the tip of it is the visible price and the hidden mass below the water is the intrinsic value. The visible price, that's what most people see in the market, the stock's current trading price. It is influenced by short-term factors like news, hype, or investor sentiment, whilst the hidden mass below the water, which is the true intrinsic value of the stock, represents the company's true wealth based on fundamental earnings, assets, cash flows, competitive advantage, and long-term potential growth. This is much larger and more important than the surface price, but it requires analysis to uncover. So she came to us, how do I identify these deals? The stock is not like a phone that I can hold in my hand and know its worth. So we gave her 2 checklists using 2 key metrics. That is, number 1, the PE ratio. That is the price that the stock is being sold for. If it has a PE ratio less than the sector average, it is most likely that that stock is undervalued. And number 2, the returns on equity. It is the quality of the stock. That is the returns and the strong fundamental that the company has. And it is average is higher than 15%, you know that the company has the potential for growth. And the big formula is low price plus high quality equals value investing. So I'll hand over to my fellow professional to take us through.
Yeah, so I know the question most of you are asking is, does this really work? And to answer your question, back in 2024, we identified a company called Aluworks. It had a PE ratio of 8, whilst the average company in that sector had a PE ratio of 12. So the market is saying 8, but our analysis is saying 12. So the difference between these 2 numbers should be your least expected profit. Next one. So we decided to divide our money into 4 equal parts, allocating 25% into GCB Bank, because a few years back, GCB Bank was in that same position and it rallied 20% up when markets corrected. And we are also allocating 25% into EcoBank because it has strong dividends and it's a regional company with strong dividends. And we are also allocating 25% to Aluworks. This is the company we identified 2024 with a low PE ratio. And lastly, we are allocating 25% to MTN because it's also undervalued and it performs well even when the market is crashing. So the easiest part is buying the stocks, right? We all know that. But the difficult thing is waiting even when the price is going down. So we thought about to research using financial metrics such as the PE ratio and return on equity before choosing the stocks and not just choosing them randomly. And after, we taught her to hold and wait even when the market is going down. And from year 3 to year 4, we told her to wait to realize her profits after market has finished correcting itself. And after that, she experienced wealth from compound growth achieved. And this is a 5-year forecast of how each sector will be performing until the 5th year is reached. So Aluworks, we will be expecting at least 17,500 Ghana cedis from Aluworks. And from both GCB Bank and EcoBank, we'll be expecting at least 35,000 Ghana cedis. And from MTN, we'll be expecting at least 20,000 Ghana cedis, which gives us a total portfolio of approximately 82,000 Ghana cedis. And if she had saved this money if she had put this money into a savings account, she would have had 50,000 Ghana cedis, which she would have incurred losses due to inflation. But after following our strategy and investing it in the companies that we gave, she would have made 82,000 Ghana cedis, which is more than double her money. And this value investing can be very profitable, right? But there are some risks involved in it. And these risks, I'm going to be calling them enemies. So our first enemy is value traps. There are some stocks that seem cheap, so you might think they are undervalued and have potential to go. But that's not the case. It means that the business might actually be dying. So you have to combine the PE ratio to other financial metrics, such as the return on equity. And also we have the enemy, which is liquidity. And to be honest, in Ghana, you cannot always sell shares when you cannot sell shares easily every time when there's an emergency. So you have to also invest in other funds such as treasury bills and other stuff. And we also have other ways to make the investment safe. That is to check the numbers, as I said earlier, and also diversify using the quarterback strategy that we give. And lastly, you have to be patient. Wealth is not a marathon, it's a sprint. So if you follow our advice, and even the market, and when the market is even going down, you are going to know that that's not the end. You rather smile and know that the sale is on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We take our final presentation from Prempeh College. Let's applaud him as he joins us on stage.
So good afternoon, Judge, organizers and fellow contestants. We are Team Prempeh, or you can popularly call us Among 4 Financial Advisors. And today we are here to present on an investment advisory plan for AMA, who wants to invest 40,000 cedis worth of cash by using value investing strategy. So on the next 8 to 10 minutes, we are here to educate on how to find undervalued stocks, how to allocate funds, how to hold on to that long-term investment, and how to expect risk and mitigate risks. So Amma is a young professional and a member of the Young Investors Network. She saved 40,000 cedis worth of cash, and she's convinced enough to invest in some of the Ghanaian strong big companies which have strong fundamentals but are temporarily undervalued. So our role here is to turn her convictions into a practical, low risk and long-term investment plan. Now let's dive into how to identify these undervalued stocks. So we ask, what is value investing? What is value investing? So value investing simply refers to buying of shares at a market price that is relative to the intrinsic value of the company. So this is the fundamental, this strategy focuses on the fundamentals. That is taking into consideration the profit, the assets, and then the profit, the assets, and the net income. And also, does not consider the price swing that is happening daily. So now let's dive into how to identify undervalued stocks. Next slide, please. Next slide. So now how to identify undervalued stocks. So they are the simple undervaluations that we have on our slide. So first is low price to earning ratio. 2 is the low price to book ratio. That's below the company's book value. And the 1 is the strong historical performance, which consists of profitability over time. This is a sign of a robust business. And then the 4th one is the stable revenue growth. That's the increase in sales over time. And then the 5th one is the attractive dividend yield. That's a regular dividend payment relative to if you're going to gain the capital gains. Now let's move on to the act of the fundamental analysis. So if Amma wants to invest 40,000 cedis, he must first consider the fundamental analysis. So this is the act of having a thorough examination or investigation within the company's financial health, paramount to value investors. So this involves scrutinizing the documents and the key metrics, which includes 1, income statement, that's the profitability of the company, that's comparing the revenue and its expenses. 2, a balance sheet. A balance sheet that simply refers to how the companies are able to manage its debt instrument. That's comparing equity to debt. 3 is a cash flow. Are the company operating within a cash flow system? That's able to gain a key positive cash flow, to be precise. And then the 4th one is debt levels. Are the company able to manage its debt equities? That's being able to pay off its short-term obligations on time, whether including stocks or eliminating stocks. Now let's move on to the profit margin. That's the efficiency of sales. And then the sector competitiveness. Okay, now let's focus on the high potential Ghanaian markets. So these are the sectors that we provided for AMA to invest in her 40,000 worth of cash inside. So for Ama's investment strategy, we identify several sectors within the Ghanaian market that offer attractive value opportunities due to the strong demand and then the long-term resilience. So one is the banking sector. So the banking sector simply is a pivotal sector within the economy that provide economic growth. Two is a consumer goods, that's a stable dividend from growing populations. And then the telecommunication, which has a huge customer subscription that provide dividends over time. And then the energy and utilities, that's the essential services with consistent revenue streams. Now, somebody might ask, why these sectors? So banking, calling, testing, fuel, and then basic goods are basically essential for people, even during economic downturns or slow growth. Yeah. Now let's move on to the proposed investment allocation for AMA. So we recommended this balanced allocation strategy that aims to blend stability with growth potential for AMA's 40,000 cities. So AMA should invest in stable stocks, that is 50%, which represent 20% on the slide over here. And then it provides a strong fundamental and a lower risk exposure as she's beginning to build up her portfolio. That has a lower volatility. And then two, a mid-cap growth opportunity, which is invest 25%, which represent 10,000 cities, which offer a higher long-term upside potential as companies expand. And then two, a dividend-paying stock that invests 7.5% inside, that represents 7,000 cities. That generates passive income alongside as companies begins to grow. And then the short-term sales, that is the money market fund, that is the short-term T-bills or cash. That's the 3.5%. That ensures liquidity and acts as a safety buffer against market fluctuations. Now let's move on to the power of diversification. So this power of diversification simply talks about, in case a specific sector is not performing well, the other two sectors, or maybe probably the other sectors that AMA decides to invest in, will also boom for her. So assuming if AMA considers these three sectors, the banking sector, the telecommunication sector, and the consumer goods, and then the banking sector is not performing well, automatically the other two sectors compensate the company, thereby reducing the impact of risks. Now, there are the benefits of diversification. One, diversification reduces risks, balances gains, protects capital, that helps shield investment during economic downturn, and then multiple returns, that allow for gains from various sectors and asset classes. So now the recommended holding period, that's patience is the key, and discipline too. So the value investing drives in patience. For AMA to truly understand the benefits, a long-term perspective is very, very essential. So a minimum is 3 to 5 years. That allows sufficient time for the market to recognize and correct the mispricing of stocks. And then that's the ideal time for AMA to invest. That's the 5 to 10 years. That requires a longer horizon to maximize the compounding effect of earnings growth and value appreciation. Okay, so the potential risks that AMA is likely to face if AMA uses the value investing strategy. That's one's market volatility. That's the unpredictable market fluctuations that can lead to the temporary declines in stocks, even for the fundamentally sound companies. So patience is the key during this period. And then two, company-specific challenges. That's individuals may face operational setbacks, competitive pressures, or challenges in the management and can negative affect their value and growth prospects. And then liquidity constraints, that's the difficulty in buying and selling of investment. And the inflation and currency pressures, that's the rising of inflation erodes the purchasing power, while currency fluctuations can impact the value of the international investments, affecting the overall returns of AMA. Okay, so now the fundamental emotional bias, So fear and then anxiety can make AMA make irrational decisions, such as panic selling. So AMA should focus during this time of the potential risks. So you should not adapt to panic selling. Let's move on. So now our robust risk mitigation approach, that's ways to mitigate these risks. That's AMA should conduct a thorough research, that's in-depth analysis on the financial statement, industry trends, and competitive landscape that helps AMA genuinely undervalue assets and assess underlying risks accurately. Diversify portfolio, that she can diversify a portfolio across the three sectors. That's banking, telecommunication, and then consumer goods. And then the quarterly performance review, that is, you should check how the company is performing quarterly, regularly, or even to be precise, consistently. Yeah. And then long-term discipline, that's Amma should stick to the time horizon that she has set for herself. And then 2, that's avoiding emotional trading. That's sticking to the predefined investment plan and objectives criteria, rather than reacting to the market sentiment, prevent impulsive decisions driven by fear or greed. So now to conclude, Amma should use value investing to grow her portfolio, which is a 40,000 cedis, by investing in by buying stocks from fundamentally sound companies at a low intrinsic value. Diversify her portfolio across assets, hold on to long-term investment, and also try to mitigate risk with discipline and check. So this is where I bring my presentation to an end. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you very much. Let's clap for all the schools. They've done very well. Okay, so the case presented to us, we had Amma, who had 40,000 to invest in value investing. We had all the rest. So this was how we made the score. So if you're able to explain value investing accurately, right, you get 3. If you're able to identify, give us how to identify an undervalued stock, you get 4. You get between 0 to 4. If you're able to give us the portfolio allocation strategy, you get between 0 to 4. If you're able to give us the holding period and the rationale for holding, you get 2. And you're able to conclude, give us the risk, present well, you get 2 also. So let's start with Opoku Ware. So you were able to define value investing, right? So you're able to explain that you get 3 out of 3 over there. You were able to identify, you were able to show us how to identify undervalued stock. Yeah, you were able to show us how to identify undervalued stock. So you get 4 out of 4. You were able to show us the portfolio allocation strategy. So what we actually looked at over there is your ability to direct us to, because you are showing us undervalued stock, right, to direct us to the Ghana Stock Exchange and identify some stocks there that you think are undervalued. And so schools that were able to identify stocks on the Ghana Stock Exchange that are undervalued gives you a higher point, because you should be able to relate all the theory you are saying to what is happening in the real world. So yeah, you did that. So you get 4 out of 4. Your holding period and rationale, yes, you told us you should hold it for some period. You didn't explain it accurately why she should hold that for that period. You get 1 out of 2, and you're able to identify the risk and conclude. 14 out of 15. My advice, okay, so you check your slides. I know sometimes when you change laptops, the slides look some way, but still do a lot of work on your slides. We go to Presec. Okay, so first of all, they started with the fact that iPhone 17 Pro Max is priced at 8,000. Please, don't go and buy 17 Pro Max at 8,000. Okay, no matter whether it is value investing or not, when you see 8,000, run. It is iPhone X that they are selling for you. So yes, that was a very excellent presentation from you. You were able to explain value investing with an example over there. You get 3 out of 3. You were able to show us how to identify undervalued stock. You get 4 out of 4. You showed us stocks on the Ghana Stock Exchange that are undervalued, you think are undervalued. You gave us some very nice examples there. You get 4 out of 4. Holding period and rationale, you did well over there. You were able to identify the holding period. Tell us why you shouldn't panic into selling. You were able to present your stuff well. You get 2 out of 2. You were able to identify the risk and present well, 2 out of 2. So 15 out of 15. St. Augustine's. You were able to identify value investing. You get 3 over there. You were able to show us how to identify undervalued stocks. You gave us some pointers, PE, return on equity, all that, 4 out of 4. You were able to show us the portfolio allocation on the Ghana Stock Exchange. You get 4. The holding period, you didn't do justice to the rationale over there. You get 1 out of 2. Risk identification and mitigation, you did well. You were able to present well over there. 14 out of 15. Prempeh. So yes, you did very well with your slides, together with Presec. You had very nice slides, but the presentation, the pace, I know it's a whole lot standing in front of people, but you can check how you present, okay? And reading from the slides, you limit how you read from the slide. All right, so you were able to identify, explain value investing to us. You did well with that, so you get 3. You're able to show us how to identify undervalued stocks. You get 4. Portfolio, you gave us some sectors, but you didn't give us specific companies on the Ghana Stock Exchange that you deem undervalued. You get 3 out of 4. The holding period and rationale, you were able to explain the holding period. You didn't tell us why she should hold for the period that you said she should hold, the rationale. So you get 1 out of 2. The risk identification and mitigation, you get 2 out of 2. So you get 13 out of 15. Okay. Let's head into the final round for the contest. Round 5, which is divided into 2. Okay, so before that, let me address the protext before you leave. So I asked the question on so scores masters, please check this for me, okay? So for round 2, question 2, that was to St. Augustine's College. I read a scenario, and the answer was unilateral mistake, right? And a unilateral mistake renders a contract voidable, not void. So they give the unilateral mistake, right? And then they said it's voidable. Okay, so if we didn't give them, if I said it was void, no, it's voidable, it's not void. It makes the contract voidable. So they get the full marks. If we gave them 2, they get the full marks over there. Oh, there's another protest. I didn't see that, so I'll address it after this round. Okay, so some schools want to affect the substitution. So, Presec, substitution. All right, so thank you for joining us. Let's clap for him as he comes. Prempeh College. All right, clap for him, clap for him. This audience don't like clapping at all. Clap for him. So at the end of round 4, the following are the scores. So for round 4, as I mentioned, Opoku Ware 14, St. Augustine's 14, Presec 15, Prempeh 13. At the end of round 4, the following are the cumulative scores. Opoku Ware 49, St. Augustine's 50, Presec 53, Prempeh College 40. No, I believe I can address this now. Right, so there's a protest here. I believe I can address this. So the question concerning a company posts a newsletter advertisement, we intend to, do you remember that question? A promotion, right? So the question was, they should identify whether it was, which class does it fall under offer and acceptance. Was it an intention to create, was it a mere invitation to treat, all that? And then the protest is saying that the student's answer was unilateral mistake, and the contract is voidable. So I believe, I believe this was the other, not this, because the question doesn't relate to this. So maybe they come again. But yes, I've addressed that unilateral bit. Okay. All right. Round 5A. This is where it gets very, very tricky, because over here, when you get it correct, you get 2 points. When you get it wrong, you suffer a penalty of -1. You can decide not to answer, in which case it is a bonus to the other remaining schools. You have to wait to be called, and you give us the answer, all right? If you get it correct, of course, you get 2. If you get it wrong, you suffer a penalty of -1. Now, the scores, you heard the scores, so you have to be very careful here so that you don't go home and cry, okay? Okay. All right. True or false? Opoku Ware. Under the current Pensions Law, Act 766, if a scheme member dies at age 74, their beneficiaries are entitled to survivor benefits from SNIT. True or false? Hello?
True. True.
I'm not accepting it. I'm canceling it. I'm giving them another question. Because I heard true from the audience. And this, when I do this, the next time I'll not accept it. Okay. So again, another question to Opoku Ware. The total contribution rate for both Tier 1 and Tier 2 pension schemes combined is 18.5% of America's basic salary. True or false?
True.
That is not correct. Augustines, a 25-year-old worker who joins a Tier 3 voluntary provident fund can withdraw part of their accrued benefit at age 35, provided they have contributed for at least 10 years. True or false?
True.
That is correct. Prempeh. Sorry. Underground miners are the only category of workers who can retire at age 55 with full retirement benefits under the hazardous employment provisions. True or false? That is not correct. Prempeh. The qualifying period for SNIT pensions benefits under the Act is 15 years, which is equivalent to 180 months of contributions. True or false?
True.
That is correct for 2 points. Next set of questions. Opoku Ware. A project with a discounted payback period shorter than its undiscounted payback period must always have a positive NPV. True or false?
False.
That is correct. Augustines, if a project's internal rate of return equals the cost of capital, its NPV will be 0 regardless of the size or distributions of cash flows. True or false?
False.
That is not correct. It's true. Presec, a project that fails the NPV rule can still have a PI greater than 1. True or false? That is not correct. Prempeh, a project with multiple sign changes in its cash flow pattern may produce several internal rates of returns, but its NPV at any discounted rate remains unique. True or false?
True.
That is correct. Next set of questions. Was paying invoices faster than required always improves the company's liquidity because it earns suppliers discounts. True or false?
False.
That is correct. Augustines, a company that loses access to part of its short-term credit line experiences a pull on liquidity even if cash flows are steady. True or false?
True.
That is correct. Presec. Pulls on liquidity occur when a company has more disbursement than receipt in absolute value. True or false? That is not correct. Prempeh. Making payments early can improve supplier relationship but may still create a temporary pull on liquidity. True or false?
True.
That is correct. Next set of questions. Opoku Ware, a higher current ratio always indicates that a company is more creditworthy than its competitors. True or false?
False.
That is correct. Augustines, The quick ratio includes inventory because it's a current asset and can be converted easily into cash. True or false?
False.
That is correct. Presec, if a company's account receivable turnover is high, it always means the company has excellent liquidity. True or false? That is not correct. Prempeh. The operating cycle measures the time from paying suppliers to collecting cash from customers. True or false?
False.
That is correct. Next set of questions. OAS. A warranty's breach always gives the innocent party the right to terminate the entire contract. True or false?
False. False.
That is correct. Augustines, an implied term must be explicitly agreed to by both parties for them to be legally binding. True or false?
True.
False. Presec. A restrictive covenant in an employment contract is automatically void if it prevents an employee from working in the same industry after leaving. True or false? That is correct. Prempeh. For an illiterate person's contract to be valid, it must include a clause stating that the terms were read and explained to them along with the signature of that person who read. True or false?
True.
That is correct. Last set of questions for this round. Opoku Ware. Small motorcycles having a negative income elasticity always imply they are inferior goods that consumers consider low quality. True or false?
True.
False. Augustines, a price elasticity of demand with an absolute value of 1.8 guarantees that a 1% change in price will always change the quantity demanded by exactly 1.8%, regardless of other factors. True or false?
False. False.
That is correct. Presec, if an increase in the price of tea leads to a decrease in the demand for milk, the cross elasticity of demand for tea and milk must be positive. True or false? That is correct. Prempeh, a perfectly elastic demand curve appears as a gentle sloping demand curve downward. A perfect elastic demand curve appears as a gently sloping downward line on a price quantity graph. True or false?
False.
That is correct. That brings us to the end of round 5A. We enter into the final round, the round 5B, the riddles. Now in this round, you have 5 riddles. Each riddle has 5 clues. If you answer correctly on the first clue, you get 5 points. Correctly on the second clue, you get 4 points. If you answer correctly on the third or any other clue, you get 3 points. If you answer at any time when the clues are not done, you are exempted from participating in that riddle, in which case the additional clues will be read to the other schools. Okay. All right. 1. I am the main motive behind countries entering into tax treaties with each other. Wait. I said wait. Let's test the bells, just for clarity. Let's test the bells. When I finish, I'll come to one. Don't worry. Okay. Let's test the bells. Prempeh, Presec, Augustines. Okay, OAS, go ahead and give me the answer.
Double taxation.
That is correct for 5 points. One, my roots trace back to early dividend policy theories developed in the mid-20th century, where economists noticed that investors cluster around firms with predictable behaviors. 2, my was
clientelis effect.
What?
Clientele effect.
Clientele effect is correct. Next. One, I am a household term in economics. 2, I grew out of early cost of living studies carried out during World War I, when governments needed better ways to track household expenses. 3, I am a statistical estimate of the level of price of goods. Wait. 3 or 4? I'm seeing 3. Presec. Augustines.
No, consumer price index.
Consumer price index is correct for 3 points. Next. I arose after the 2018 financial crisis, when regulators realized that banks stated assets values. St. Augustine's.
Asset quality review.
Shit. That is correct for 5 points. The final riddle. Final riddle. I was developed by Professor Michael Jensen and the late Professor William Maclean of the Simmons School of Business, University of Rochester. 2, I am an economic concept that refers to the cost associated with the relationship between an organization, person, or group of persons. 3, I arise when the goals of a principle and presec. That is correct for 3 points. And that brings us to the end of the contest. As we await the scores for the final rounds, there's 2 schools that get the highest score would qualify for the finals of the NIQ 2025. Because we are very much behind time, we will take the scores and continue. Okay. So this is it. Some of you will see you in the final, some of you will not. We don't know what's going to happen when the scores come. But before that, I'd like to hear your final remarks, assuming we will not hear from you again. What did you learn? What's your key takeaway from the contest? Assuming we will not meet again, what's your key takeaway? Yes, Prempeh, what's your key takeaway from this contest? What have you learned? What are you taking home to go and live life? What is your key takeaway? If you get it correct on this answer, 5 points, okay? So answer.
Okay, what I've learned from this contest is simple. The will of God has been done.
Hey. Will of God, yes, say we learned it at church. Presec, what have you learned? What's your key takeaway? Yeah, they've learned a lot. St. Augustine's.
It was not easy, but
with
God, all things
I
are
said, what
possible.
is your key takeaway from the... You don't know the results. What is your key takeaway from the contest?
It was very competitive.
OAS.
If you are patient enough, you surely succeed.
Value investing, right? Let's clap for all the schools. At the end of round 5, for round 5, the following are the scores. That is the riddles and the true or false combined. Opoku Ware, 16. St. Augustine's, 14. Presec Legon, 3. Prempeh College, 12. Now, in the event of a tie, the tie will be broken by a riddle first. And if that is not able to break the tie, then we move to a theory question. If that doesn't break the tie, we go to a true or false in that order until the tie is broken. At the end of the contest, the following are the scores. Are these the correct scores? Because I'm seeing some things. Okay, so in the order in which the schools are seated, Opoku Ware, 65. Let's clap for them. 6-5. St. Augustine's, 6-4. Presec, 56. Prempeh, 52. So from my right and in that order. Okay, so the first school, just like how they are seated, right? Yeah, just like how they are seated. I mean, all right, so Prempeh and Presec, the 2 P's, P square. We'll see you next season, all right? Augustines and OAS, all the best in the finals. Thank you very much, and we are signing out. Bye. Over to you.
And so we see very And so, yes, a very big thank you to you for joining the semi-finals. And so we are hoping to see Opoku Ware and then St. Augustine's at the... And so please, we are starting the very second contest right now. And so, yes, OAS and then Augustines will meet you at the finals.